So we're back on the main line here at the O'Galley Scenic Railway, and we're going to dive into part 2 of our little map tour of the route. So we're going to pull out our little map here. We are now on the main line here, our new main line, and we're located right about here. And after we stop here, we're going to make several stops, and we're going to end up here on our new big cut. There's been a lot of changes up there, and we're going to show you some of those and give you some really kind of cool aerial footage of that. But as far as this location goes, we're looking east, and in the distance around that curve is our what we call the swamp area, or our little swamp. It's a wetland area where we spent about 2 months building a 4 to 5 foot berm, and we put in probably 8 or 10 culverts all the way along that section of the line. So that was a very intense area to work on. The other significance of this spot is that we are crossing a property line from our original property on the right of the camera to this area on the left, which we added so that we could have a way to get to the top of that hill without trying to go straight up the hill. So we're able to kind of skirt around the edge of it and then come back up, and you'll see that in a couple of minutes. So let's take a little walk down the line, and we'll make another stop down here on the big berm. So moving down the line about another 300 feet or so, we've come to this curve, and this curve takes us out, and we start moving up the hill towards the big cut that you'll see in a few minutes. Up ahead of us you can see the largest cornfield on the property, and the tracks go all the way around it and kind of wind their way up that hill. Now right now we are located right there, and we're about to, the cornfield's in here, we're about to kind of work our way up toward the big cut. Now the other thing about the spot that we're in, this is that big berm I just talked about, and it's we've probably got 6 different culverts in here, one of which is right underneath my feet, and it's the culvert that allows that stream that I've mentioned many times before to flow from south to north underneath the railroad. So this was kind of a difficult area to work in. Like I say, it took about 2 months to do the dirt work, and but it turned out, as you can see, it turned out very well. So let's take another walk down the track, and we'll meet you in the next spot. So now we've come around the corner from the curve and from our little stream crossing underneath the track, and off to the right you can see the cornfield I was talking about. We're standing on top of a farm crossing. This is a 30-foot crossing, and it allows the farmer to get his equipment back and forth across the track. Off to my left there's a farm road that kind of meanders through those 2 fields and allows obviously equipment to come back and forth for planting and harvesting. Off in the distance you can see the curve. It curves off to the right, and just before the curve starts is where our big 3 to 3.5% grade begins, that takes us all the way up to the very end of the railroad. So this is the starting point for that. So right now we are right here, and we're going to be heading up the hill in a minute here. We're going to get up to this corner here, and this is kind of a special spot, and we'll explain more about that in a minute. So we'll see you there. So now we've moved up the track and partially up the hill, and right now we are located right there. This is the last turn before we get to our longest straightaway on the railroad, which we're going to show you a little bit of next. And the story behind this corner doesn't look very fantastic on camera, but this is the location where we got all of our fill for the berm that you just saw a minute ago. So everything from where you can see the corn to the forest on the left here, that was all cut out, and that took, like I say, 2.5 months to do that. A lot of material got moved out of here. So we were trying to build this up to a 3.5% grade. There are areas where it's not quite that steep, but most of it is about 3.5. So So our next stop then will be halfway up the hill at the big cut, and we're going to show you all the changes that we've made since the last video that showed that. Okay, we have made it, well, probably about halfway up the entire hill to a spot where we have laid recent track. So our end of track you'll see in a second, but we're going to kind of pan around and show you the recent progress. Right now we are located right here. So our big cut is just here in the corner. We'll be showing you that in a minute. So we just wanted to kind of update you and show you some of the track after it's been laid, and then we'll take you up to the big cut. Well, here we are. We made it to the middle of the hill where our big cut is that we've been working on for almost a year now. It's finally basically done. There's a few little touch-up things that we have to do, but we've got ballast down, we've got ties down, we're ready to lay track probably next week. We are located right here, and you can see all the way around the corner and down to this next corner. Yeah, it's pretty neat. So I'll show that to you now, and then we'll go from there. So that wraps up our part 2 of our map tour of the route here on the Eau Gallie Scenic Railway. Right now I'm standing at the end of where our ballast is for the moment, and off in the distance you can see that the railroad is going to curve off to the left and just keep right on going. So if you like our content, please smash the like button and don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.